Hi everybody, Lori here from My Favorite Things. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've got a couple of fun projects to share with you featuring the brand new Crafty Hands Card Kit. Such a fun card kit for the crafty lover. And you're going to get a bunch of delicious solid color cardstock, a sheet of vellum. One stamp set that's included in the Crafty Hands card kit is this one. It's called the Mini Messages and More. And you might recognize a few of these sentiments. They ring a bell to past sets that I've seen. They're just sized a lot smaller for the little mini messages that you can create in this Crafty Hands card kit. Some more die sets that are included in the card kit is this one here. It's called Paper Goods. And you can create envelopes and cards. And here's Crafty Hands. And there's a bunch of different hands. Hands that can hold cards and envelopes and phones and doodads and whatnot. And then you have the die cuts and scraps. And this one allows you to customize for seasons, or there's a coffee mug, cupcake heart, Christmas tree flowers. Now these are optional die sets that can be purchased separately. This one here is one of my favorites called Just Add Paint. And you can create paint palette and a paintbrush. And then you have tools of the trade. This one's really fun. You've got the scissors, some acrylic blocks. There's Copic markers, colored pencils. There's a roll of tape. And then there's also Creature Comforts Dynamics. This one includes some eyeglasses, a coffee mug, saucer, parts that you can create an iPhone. And that's really fun. And then there's a little mini stamp set that's called Crafty Friends stamp set. I believe this is a freebie right now. If you spend $60, you get the Crafty Friends stamp set free. Okay, I'm going to start with the Just Add Paint Dynamics. Now again, this is an optional die set that you can buy that coordinates with the Crafty Hands card kit, but I just couldn't resist. Now I did count in the little round paint palette, there's 10 little circles. And wouldn't you know it, you get 10 different shades of solid color cardstock in the Crafty Hands card kit. So I went ahead and cut little squares for this little paint palette, and I'm going to die cut each one of the 10 squares. So this is going to make a lot. This would technically allow you to create 10 different paint palettes. Okay, does it take some time? Yes, it does. Is it a little bit tedious, a little bit messy? You bet your bottom dollar. But just so happens that I love doing stuff like this. I love repetition. I like getting in the zone. This would be a great one if you had a few of these paint palettes. You could do a lot at once. I only had one, so I got to do one at a time. You just put on some music, you get in the zone, and you die cut 10 little paint palettes. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is die cut it again out of white. I do the open circle and the paint palette detail, both out of white cardstock. And this, I'll show you how this all comes together. I do die cut one or two more extra out of that white paint palette. I'm going to stack them up. It's totally optional. You don't have to stack them up, but that little extra stack gives it a little extra dimension, and you know that's life. Ooh, that was a new melody. Okay, so I stack up the two little paint palette thingamajiggies. Flip it over, add some glue. I'm using Bearly Arts. It's handy dandy because it's got that precision needle to get in the nooks and crannies. There's a lot of little intricate gluing. Okay, so a little bit dabble do. You don't need too much, Laura. Take it easy. Okay, flip it over and adhere it onto the solid circle backer. Put an acrylic block on it. Let it marinate. Once it's set, little dot in each well. And now here's where the embellishment wand or picker-upper tool, whatever you like to use, really comes in handy. You just pop in your little paint pot. I don't know what these are called, but I'm going to call it a paint pot. And you know I'm going in rainbow order. So you know this is right up my alley, right? And I just glue them and I have a time. Now this is just one. But look, I have 10, well actually I have 9 more of those little solid paint pot circles. And I'm going to use them later, don't you worry. But now what I'm doing is making a little paintbrush. This die is also in the Just Add Paint Dynamics die set. So I did one out of craft, the little brush out of black, And then I didn't realize it at the time, but I do realize it later, and I'll show you. There's an extra little die cut that you can add to the brush, like to the tip of the brush. But look how cute that is. So cute. Now here's the Crafty Hands. I'm going to die cut. This is a lot of die cutting out of a lot of different sets that you can mix and match. You certainly don't have to use all that. I'm just trying to showcase as much as I can for you to get a feel of what it all looks like. And then I'm going to do some scissors from the tools of the trade. So I did the base of the scissors out of some matte silver. I did the handles out of a little bit of aqua. And, you know, if you wanted to do repetition, you could cover a whole card with different colors of scissors and just all the tools. If you're like me, a crafty lover, then you probably love colorful tools. Now here's the Creature Comforts, and I just had to die cut a pair of eyeglasses. Now, do you guys have to wear like cheaters or readers? I'm getting to that point. Not quite yet. No, normally when I just do my card work, I don't need anything. But if I have my contacts in, because I need my contacts to drive, then I can't see my phone. So I had to buy a pair of cheaters the other day to wear when I have my contacts in. I'm just a hot mess. I'm a hot mess. So you got the little glasses. And now here's that little die that I didn't realize adds a bit of detail to the tip of the paintbrush. I did it out of that matte silver, and it just gives that little extra something something. Optional, but delightful. Okay, now here's the paper goods. This comes with the card kit, and I'm making a little envelope. Now another thing you can do if you want to go the extra mile, there's a die in there that makes a little envelope liner. This would be a fun time to use some pattern paper. You know how sometimes the envelope liners are patterned and you can really zhuzh it up. I just did it out of white, and I made the envelope out of purple. I feel like purple doesn't get enough love, and so I made a purple envelope. And there you have a cute little mini envelope. Everything's just so tiny and cute. Okay, so now what I'm making it is a tiny little greeting card. So I cut a base out of very light gray, and then I cut another one out of white, but I trim it just a little bit smaller so that I can have a little margin there. You know how I like to do my cards with a border? Just kind of mimicking that. Now I'm going to stamp in that mini messages and more stamp set. There's a big old paint splotch. Actually, it's not big old, it's kind of mini. But I'm going to just stamp little paint splotches all over my card, my background of my card. Since I have the little paint palette, I figure why not make it look like I painted splotches on my card. You see where I'm going? So I'm just trying to add a bunch of color here and there, and then I'm going to use a sentiment. This little one, it says, "You are so loved." Cute little scripty sentiment. I'm going to stamp that in black right on to that paint splotched background, and then I'll adhere this panel onto that soft gray card base. It's actually not a card base, but it looks like a card base. Okay, so this is all coming together, putting all the little bits and doodads and whatnot. Now I have a white card base, a cream panel. I'm going to start assembling the card. So first thing is figuring out, I wanted my card to be a little bit cocked to the side, and it fits into the hands so beautifully. A little bit of glue. You know, I want to pop everything up, but I only popped up the card. Everything else just gets glued flat down onto that cream panel. And so there you have these cute little hands holding the card. And then you've got your little purple envelope just kind of slipping it in right behind it. And then, of course, that beautiful paint palette, which adds so much cheerful color. You got the little paintbrush, just tucking that right in. And then you got your little cheaters or your little eyeglasses, whatever your prescription is, but they look so cute there. And you got your scissors. And then now this, again, optional, but I took a little Copic, a little R30, and I just carefully painted in the thumbnail. Okay? Not that I always paint my nails, but sometimes I do, and it looks cute on the card. Now, there's a little space on the right that I thought, why not add a little something something? So I took, I believe this is from the Tools of the Trade, and I made a little tape dispenser out of some light aqua and a little bit of white cardstock. And you know, it kind of looks like a little roll of Post-it tape or tape, which I always, by the way, have sitting on my crafty desk. And there you have it. Now you could add more or you can add less, but it's just a really fun crafty layout. And this would be great for a crafty friend or anyone. Now, all the rest of those little paint palettes, I went ahead and put them together off camera. It took a hot minute, but I enjoy it. And so now I've got 9 little paint palettes and 3 little mini paintbrushes. And I went ahead and stamped the sentiment Big Birthday Wishes, which is from the Many Messages and More stamp set included in the Crafty Hands card kit. Stamped that right onto a panel of cream cardstock. And then I'm popping up several of these cute little rainbow paint palettes. It's a great way to use repetition and almost like a geometric design. So I take my scissors and cut off all the excess that's hanging off the sides of that cream panel. Now I'm going to pop this up on a white card base so it's very dimensional. Last thing to do is add those cute little paint palettes. You just need a little bit of glue and just kind of rest it right on there. I do kind of stagger them and have them go different directions. Kind of creates a little bit of movement for the eye, and that's it. Big Birthday Wishes with a bunch of rainbow paint palettes. If you got a painter in your life, that would be a great card. So there you have 2 projects featuring the Crafty Hands card kit, as well as several of the other add-on Dynamics die sets. Make sure and check out the My Favorite Things website for more incredible inspiration. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.